Hello students, this is Dr. Miller. I'm going to give you a quick feedback on portrait and lighting. That would be assignment 6, and unfortunately we had some students that didn't turn it in, so what I'm going to show you is a little bit limited. It's not an easy task to take photographs of people, and there were some really good ones that were submitted, which I'm happy to see. There were also some that weren't so great. And I think part of the difficulty some of you had was with the definition. We'll get into that. Let's look at some photos. This one is in the environmental category. Remember, I wanted you to do some that were in just kind of the way it is type of a setting. This is McKenna, and this is absolutely a stunning portrait. I think it's great, and there are a number of reasons for it. I really appreciate that McKenna was not afraid to let this top part of the subject's head go off the frame. It's much more critical to have the full face. Portraits are usually about faces more than anything else, and I think that's something that some of the students struggle with, is not getting in close enough on the subject. This is what people want to see. They want to see the face, and in particular, they want to see the eyes. Now, what's nice here is the eyes are really well in focus. Some of her is actually just a little bit out of focus, but that is totally okay in a portrait, because it creates kind of a mysterious, gauzy effect, which I think is great. There's another element here, and that is this backdrop. And it's kind of funky, and it looks great, and it's just a great contrast to the skin tones and the blonde hair, and that really makes it an excellent photograph. So good job on that one. This is another environmental one, and this is from Emma. And this is really kind of what I had in mind, was to catch portraits of people kind of in the environment where they spend their time. And I'm going to assume that this young woman probably works at this place that's serving some nice looking margaritas there to me. And this is a great photo, and part of it is she's got a great expression on her face, and Emma did a good job of capturing that. Now, sometimes it's where you're going to take like 20 shots of the same thing. Just fire them off one after another, because in some of them you're going to find that there's an eye that's closed, or there's some goofy expression. It happens all the time. So if you take lots, you have lots to choose from. Now, the composition on this is great. Notice how her head is up here, not in the center, but more in this rule of thirds kind of thing. I harp on this rule of thirds all the time, because it's probably the simplest composition trick to learn, and that is to not put things dead in the center, but use this space. And so this dead space back here, which if it were in focus would be kind of distracting. You probably can hear my corgi coming up here with his 2 long nails, so he's settling down for a little nap. Anyway, this dead space up here really works. Also, these 2 drinks here in the front. This is a really good photo. Now this is Mona, and she sent in a few that use this stone backdrop, and she had her subjects laying down here, and I think it's really effective. One of the things that makes this interesting is the light. Notice how the light creates a shadow. This probably is in the late afternoon, where the sun is low, and it comes across and creates shadows. Now, I thought when I first saw this, I thought, well, maybe she could have gotten in a little closer. So I kind of expanded it a little bit to see if that's true. So this is the one I did. But I'll be honest, I kind of like the original one better. I like more space out there. Part of that reason it works is because even though she's not looking at the camera, because this is one of the looking away ones, uh, her face is faced in this direction. So you kind of need a little bit more space out here than I provided when I did the kind of blown up version. This is another one from Mona. And the problem I think students had with a constructed setting is they didn't think about constructing a setting. And part of the construction is the lighting. And so what I was thinking was you would create more of a studio environment. We had some of the articles and videos that showed photographers doing their work in a studio setting. Now they had the bigger cameras and the professional lighting and stuff like that, but the idea was to construct a set. And some of you just shot what was there. So at least Mona thought of the idea of having nothing in the background. That is a particular approach called limbo lighting. And there's black limbo lighting, and then if it were all white, it would be white limbo. But it's a tried and true photographic technique. This is Danielle's, and this is definitely a constructed setting also, because she has the blanket and she has the toys, and this is a great expression of this young child here. So that's a really nice constructed setting with props. This is Emma again, and this is kind of a glam shot, and I think the posing and the lighting, all of it works really well. What I don't like so much is the background is kind of cluttered. If this has been like a limbo black here in the back, or maybe a sheet or a blanket or something like that, I think it would have been a little better, but it's nicely done. This was definitely the best pet portrait that was sent in, and it's great. Part of it again is this lighting, low, late afternoon lighting. I kind of like this little prop kind of thing over here. Really nice. This is Danielle. I love the expression on the child's face. And here's a book prop, but this is really a great shot too. And I like the hat. I like it all. This is from Emma, and it's a nice shot. But I wanted to show you just a couple things that the photo editing can help with. First is a little bit of cropping here. There's just a little bit too much on the head, and don't need all this stuff on the right. Notice by the grid that we're getting the head into that sweet spot here of the rule of thirds. So that's the final with the cropping, and I also did a little lighting correction. So if we go back to the original, and now that you can see I've lightened it up in her face here without losing too much. It's a little bit overexposed because this is what's called blown out. There's no detail there. But it's overall, it's a nice photograph, good posing, and I like the strong lighting from the side. Again, probably late afternoon. Finally, let's close out with this one from McKenna. And this is just outstanding. I love the position of the subject here up in this upper thirds right along here. Again, don't be afraid to lose a little bit, because the face is what's critical. This stuff over here is interesting actually, and it doesn't detract at all, partly because it's got this just kind of the structure of the fence kind of area over there works, because she's all tussles and curves, and this is all really straight and rigid. So that's a good, really good photograph by McKenna. So you all did pretty well. Let's keep shooting. If you have any questions, let me know.